Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Big T Anderson, and this is a fanfiction reading. It's titled The Apology. It is in the Star Trek Voyager fandom, and this has been written by sparkycola1. If you're new here, you don't know what's going on, let me explain. I was a past fanfiction writer, I still write them, just not as much. I did not see that there was a whole lot of good examples of fanfiction, so I'm going to start reading them. And in this case, I'm just the one reading it. I'm not going to read my own, because, yeah. Just call it a little tick I have. Anyway, sparkycola1 is the author. If you want to give the author some love, if you want to give the story some love, I'm going to have links down below. You can go to the author's page on fanfiction.net. Also, you can give the story a proper review. If you liked how I did it, you can give a review here on YouTube or VidMe, and I would appreciate it. If you enjoyed my work, please share it. If you like the fanfiction, share them. Get these out there. Make people who maybe enjoy the fandom listen to some of this, so that way the authors get more love on this. Because if they don't know what they're doing right, then they won't be doing it for much longer, I found out. Anyway. Let us begin. This is the apology. And also, as a little note here, set after the episode Investigations, where Tom has been given an undercover mission to find the traitor on Voyager. Come in, Chakotay said. He was in a foul mood. After nearly 2 years in the Delta Quadrant, Catherine Janeway, whom he considered a friend as well as a colleague, hadn't trusted him enough to put him in the loop regarding the plan concocted by her, Tom Paris, and Tuvok. Janeway colluding with two traitors. Janeway had apologized, but he didn't get the feeling she would have done it differently, and it bothered him a lot. The person to enter his quarters was one of the last people he wanted to see at the moment. Paris, he said coolly. Tom waited for the door behind him to close. I came to apologize, he said, and his voice included all of the sincerity, regret, and self-reproach that it should. But now he knew more than anyone just how good an actor Tom was. His fluency in lying shouldn't have come as a surprise to Chakotay, but it still had. For what? Chakotay said. He knew how he had to play this. He was angry now, but his reason told him that it wasn't really Tom's fault. He'd just been the agent in the plan. He hadn't made the decision to exclude Chakotay. Tom sighed. For everything. For hitting you, for undermining you in front of the crew. You were just following the script, Lieutenant. Following orders. You didn't do anything wrong, and you have nothing to apologize for. Was that all? Tom stared at him with an unreadable expression. There was an awkward pause before Tom finally said, Chakotay, I was following orders to be a complete asshole to you, so I owe you an apology. I should have also insisted that you were in on it. I'm sorry. Chakotay felt his anger dissipating slightly, but before he could say anything, Tom continued. I also came to say thank you. For what? Not believing it too quickly, Tom said with a wry smile, but Chakotay frowned. Chakotay looked at him, saw that Tom he'd started to see before the plot started. The one who was trying so hard to do the right thing, to make up for past mistakes. The Tom who was so hard on himself, and so often forgave everybody except himself. He let go of his resentment and put his anger at Catherine to one side to focus on the pilot. Did you think I would? Tom shrugged. I haven't given you much reason to. To what, Tom? See you differently from the alcoholic hustler I recruited in Marseille? Of course you have. Chakotay sighed and shook his head. Tom's sincerity had won him over despite his bad move, and he saw it all from the pilot's point of view as well as just his own. In the last 2 years on Voyager, you have shown yourself to have courage, compassion, and decency. You've proved yourself time and time again. Tom looked genuinely stunned by the words. Sit down, please. He gestured towards the sofa. Do I wish I'd been included in the plan? Yes, I do. And I've spoken to the captain about my disappointment with her decision, but your actions were selfless and resourceful and deserve recognition. Tom shifted uncomfortably, looking like he was waiting for the penny to drop. And Chakotay realized this was probably the first time he'd ever praised him. You put yourself at risk, in more ways than one. How much backlash did you get from the crew for your behavior? Tom shrugged. Nothing I can't handle. It's still going on. They'll get bored eventually, Tom said indifferently. Chakotay looked at him. After all the work you put into building good relationships on Voyager, you risked it all on this mission, all the hard-won respect. Now you have to build it up again. I've seen the way some of the crew were behaving around you, Tom. Actually, Chakotay had to order some of his former crew to keep their hands off the young pilot. No matter how angry he may have been, he refused to let anyone touch him. Some of them had implied that there had been a few attacks in the early days, the thought of which disturbed him. Tom had never said anything. He'd covered for them. He knew it would have risked the stability of the crew back then, but that didn't make it any easier for Chakotay to accept. Neelix wants to interview me in an hour to explain. I'm hoping it'll help somewhat. If anyone tries anything, I want to be the first to know. I meant everything I said back there about coming to me with anything that's bothering you. Tom sighed and laughed slightly. 1 step forward and 2 steps back, huh? You're not back to square one, Tom. People know you now. You just have to remind them of what they already know. Feel like I've been hustling Poole and Marcel. You build up this story, then right at the end, turn it all around, and it's supposed to feel like some kind of victory, but... He shook his head. Most of the time, it just ends with everyone in the room hating your guts and trying to prove it. Back then, you did it for money. This time, you did it for Voyager, having said which, if you try to hustle me again, I might not be so forgiving, Chakotay said dryly. Tom looked sheepish. I won't. I better get going for Neelix's report. He got up to go and then walked to the door. Tom, thank you. It means a lot to me that you chose to come here this evening and say what you did. Tom smiled at him. Least I could do. Good night, Commander. Good night. Chakotay stared at the closed door after Tom had left. He recognized the look on Tom's face from times when the captain had praised him. A look that said Tom would do anything to live up to that faith in him. He'd never seen Tom look at him like that before. He'd only seen caution, cynicism, suspicion. He realized now why Catherine felt so protected of Tom. There was something about winning the trust of Tom Paris that felt like a greater victory than the whole of his former Marquis crew put together. And that was The Apology by sparkycola1. Once again, if you liked it, hit the links below, give the author some love, give the story a good review. And I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy all these fanfiction readings, let me know. Comment what fandoms you'd like me to go to next. I try to do a couple different ones every month to grab the fanfictions from. I have to go through a process. I talk to the authors. If they don't allow it, I won't put it up. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening. Ta-ta for now.